Hey, hey, beautiful people. It is August the 17th, 2017 at 4:27 p.m. Neat numbers. 30 years ago today, many of us were holding hands at the Harmonic Convergence. I was in Boulder, Colorado on August 16th and then en route to Mississippi on August 17th. That was a most amazing time for me. It gave me the feeling of the frequencies I had been looking for as home, and many of us were looking for it in drugs and things. Mushrooms was the closest you could come to feeling the frequencies that I hold within my field now. And it's perpetual now. It hadn't ended in 8 years. That's what ascension, enlightenment, is all about. It's the raising of your frequency to the point to where your heart chakra activates, all the other chakras activate, and you form your tritial field, and when you do, you're basically putting energy into motion. It's electrons spinning. And that's what you feel in your field when you're feeling all these frequencies is electrons. That's exactly it. Well, that's kind of what I was being told to bring a message through about. It's been up and coming these past several days, and I can really feel it. And I even told my mother last night when we were having dinner, man, I'm getting so many downloads again, and it's all about bringing forth the 2017 40-day event. Now, what's the significance of this particular one? Because that's really the 40-day events. The first one I was called to do was in 2009, and it went from 1st of November through middle December, and it was to gather 8,000 of us to shift our consciousness from our head to our heart and to activate our tritial field, go through our ascension, enlightenment, Christing process, and set off those first waves around the planet so that many others would go through this process too. We had to bring the light masters to Earth. We had to activate the light masters. The light masters were already here on Earth, except many of us had gotten lost in the illusion, so to say. Forgotten who we were, and not remembered what our mission is here. Well, this morning I woke up, and is the very first message that I read was from Solara on Ra, and she was bringing forth exactly the message of how to use those electrons that I was also receiving. See, that's how magic works. Magic is all about putting electrons into motion, energy into motion, emotion to generate a material experience. That's what it's about. That's what magic's about. When you are holding so much light and frequency in your tritial field, you can direct those energies via your upper chakras, and get those energies to perform work, to actually make something, to materialize something, to make something happen, to bring forth anything. I mean, it could be for telepathy, it could be for consciousness, it can be for learning or receiving potentialities and possibilities, as well as putting energy into motion for creation. There's many ways of using light and frequency, the electrons within your field. Depending on how fast those electrons are spinning, or the dimensions, the octaves of frequency. And there are many different levels of octaves of frequency, and many different levels of rules and and concepts on each individual level, many different levels of higher self. And that's all about how fast the electrons spin and how much vibration is going down. Anyway, as I was looking at Clarion Ra's work, and I haven't gone through it all, and I haven't really watched the video, I just watched the headings of it and realized, man, that's the same messages I'm getting. Which is how all this works anyway. And you'll hear, a half dozen people getting the same messages at the same time and putting it forth. It's just like my last video. I was even talking about Magenta Pixie, how I appreciate her work so much. And then literally the very next morning I get up, first message I see, it's her new video, and it's saying basically the same things that I had said in my video. And it's just channeling the field. That's all we're doing. We're hitting levels, octaves of frequency, levels of higher self, which all vibrate at different rates, and each has a different message, a different level of understanding. And that's all we're doing. I had a friend come up to me a couple of days ago and ask how to channel Archangel Michael. And I said, the first thing you got to do is know that you're a fractal of Archangel Michael, and everybody here on this planet is. So when I state that I'm about 90% plus of Archangel Michael, that's a truth, but everybody's part of the Michael recipe, the ingredients. They've all got different parts of all the archangels, and that's just how we're made. Our choices make up what we look at physically in our experience, but from the original end, we're coming from the same recipes. And the recipe for me and the recipe for you are pretty similar. It really is. But I was very adamant on trying to explain to her how to channel Archangel Michael, because she does automatic writing and other things, and it's really just getting into that particular octave of frequency, that particular level of higher self. And to call Archangel Michael, to call yourself Archangel Michael. Anyway, the 2009 40-day event started off with an Archangel Michael channeled message saying we have 40 days of no negativity and focus on shifting consciousness out of the head and into the heart and activating the Trudeal field, going through the enlightenment and Christing process, ascended mastery process. And that was the first 40-day event. I'm being told to do another one now that begins with this solar eclipse, because as I'm starting to see other person's messages that they're bringing forth, and much different from mine, I'm starting to see how the synchronicities are just amazing. I believe it's 19 different towns with the name Saint in it that this eclipse will go through, and in its totality, like St. Joseph, St. Louis, all these different saints, St. Michael. But it starts off on the west coast in Salem, and Salem's named after Jerusalem. And what is at the end of this 40 days is Yom Kippur. And we begin the High Holy Days. And so the messages started coming in that we've got to do another Calling All Light Masters. It's time for the 2017 40-day event. And it's not just for those of us who are activated, it's for everybody. And if you're not already activated, focus on shifting your consciousness from your head to your heart into the singularity, going through your ascension process, and learn to play with magic. Now, what is the messages about what this 40-day event is supposed to be about? it goes back to New Earth. And in 2010, we had a 40-day event that totally encapsulated the Gulf oil spill, the BP oil spill, the British Petroleum, biblical bottomless pit. That 40-day event encapsulated it. And it was most amazing how many people activated at that time. And then in 2011, we had another 40-day event, and it was about envisioning new 5D Earth. Many of us, and the same thing happened in 2012 too, but many of us are now experiencing our lives as being within the visions of what we were seeing way back then in 2011 and 2012, when our focus was on manifesting new fifth dimensional Earth, 5D Earth. Well, that's what I'm told to call the whole planet, all the light matter. 1111 is a look there. Perfect timing. Call all the light masters on this planet and off planet, all dimensions, to focus on new 5D Earth. What is it you want to see? Who is it you want to be? Who is it you want to be with? What is it you want to do? How do you perceive heaven on earth? Hold that focus. Dream the dream. Dream your wildest dream. Don't let anything box you in. This time is all about expansion. It's all about elevating the frequency. It's all about creating a new experience, heaven on earth, the Aquarian age. And that's literally what we're doing here. See, you have to dream your dream before you can have the experience. And Team Dark knows this too. And if you're paying attention to what's going on right now in history, we're having all these riots that's being generated and created. And it's really because Team Dark knows that our thoughts and our emotions are creating the experience. And the only way that they can really contain the planetary population is having all these false flag events where people are just going into fear, thinking, oh, the world's falling apart, and we're getting ready to have nuclear war, and we've got race riots, and oh my God, the world's falling apart. And what they're doing is they're controlling the thought and emotion, the computer, which generates the individual's experience. And nobody can do it to you, but you can allow it to be done to yourself. And so the message is so clear coming in about empowerment and using your power. Everybody use your power now to generate what they perceive of as the 5D experience. Now, I've explained many, many times how chakras work and how to generate a magical experience, and you've got to be grounded. Your root chakra's got to be connected to Mother Earth. Your crown chakra and higher chakras got to be connected to your higher level of self, Prime Creator, how far out you can get it. And then you have to be connected to all that is on the astral level at the sacral chakra. That's the gut instinct. That's why you call the sacral, when you are feeling into something, you're looking for that gut instinct because it connects you to everybody and everything else. Your solar plexus has to be open and connected to your soul, or soul, the sun. This is a solar system. If you want to use your power, you have to be embodying your soul. That's what creates and generates the light. The heart has the 0 point. the 0 point between the earthly chakras, your root, your sacral, and your solar plexus chakras, and that's for your earth experience. And to generate the experience, your spiritual chakras, your throat, your third eye, and your crown. You also have a soul chakra above the head and an earth chakra that's even outside your body and below your feet into the earth. You also have a galactic chakra and a universal chakra. To utilize all these at the same time is key to generating magic or the tridial field or your experience. I don't need to go into all that trying to explain it because I've done that so many times before. But to be open and free-flowing with all your energies, and then to have that divine thought of what it is that you wish to manifest in 5D Earth, your life experience, how you see the collective, what our capabilities are. Can you see us floating? Can you see us not using money? We can float and move around, not need vehicles. We can use our Merkaba to travel with, not only on local areas, but wherever we want to go around this planet and even off planet, even to other dimensions. To envision a planet without needs, or the crap. To envision a pure planet. To envision everybody getting along with each other. To envision a planet with no money, no need for money, or no need for an economy. To envision that you can manifest anything that you so desire by use of your computer system and the light you generate and the whole electromagnetic circuit that you are, that your body is. I mean, because that's how you use this earth transportation mechanism properly. It's really to see that that everything is a hologram. If you understand a quantum universe, if you understand what life is, what magic is, what wizardry is, you understand that this is a hologram. And yes, we can change it. And it all has to do with how we hold our intent and our focus and our light and how we invoke it. We cast the spell. We speak it forth. Speech. Spelling. You've got to create the spell. You got to cast that spell. And you don't want to be saying things that are untrue or that you don't want to manifest or that is BS. We don't need any BS here. And to do so just lowers your light and frequency or creates conflict in your experience. So create the most perfectionate dream. Create the most incredible abilities, superhuman abilities. If you want to see ETs descending to Earth and to be part of the universe again, hello, envision it. Hold that vision. Many of us are. Many of us do. Many of us realize we are ETs. How many times have I said, as soon as I finish ceremony, I look up, there's a light ship. I see my light ship all the time. It is my Arcturian self. And when you realize that is you, then you can start connecting to that level of you and merging with it. Because in the future, you're going to be that. Well, you already are that, but you perceive that you're you, the ego, in this now moment, and it's really that you got to get out of to really able to be allowing that higher self to come in. Just like channeling Michael. Same thing. Now, the Team Dark is really trying to do the best they can to control the fear on this planet right now. Boy, are they... And I think a lot of people are finally getting it, that they can override it. and that's pretty cool. A lot of people don't want to look at the news and what's going on out there because they themselves have not moved beyond the fear factor yet. And if you've got fear, fear can be a good thing, but then you've got to integrate that fear so that it doesn't override your life and become that which you manifest in your experiences. And there's a huge level of comprehending that that we each have to go through. There's a spider on the top of my computer screen. Like I said last time, they're climbing mountains, and we've had to climb a few mountains too, and that's what's going down right now. We've got to get everybody on this planet ascended through their ascension. How long will it take? I hope it's not the 1,000 years that is prophesied. I hope it's just a few more years. And I'm going to hold that vision right there. That's a good one to hold for these 40 days, that we can do all this in just a few years and not not over a period of the next 1,000 years. That would really suck, that we've got to keep on playing this game for 1,000 years. But anyway, now is the time. The solar eclipse on August 21st, as many of us are feeling right now, it's the electrons are so dense in the volume of the electrons within our tritial field, both the donut that is our tritial field around and the Merkaba, which is rotating around that, and the various levels of Merkaba that we each have. We're getting so many photons, electrons in our field right now that it's almost as dense as this humidity in Mississippi on the Gulf Coast. I can go into the air conditioning and it's still dense. But we need to put that to use. And so this is the perfect time throughout these 40 days. Solara on Ross said that the 21st to the 23rd would be most powerful, and yes, absolutely, those are by far your most powerful days with the energy spinning. But we can keep them spinning just by our collective focus and thought and intent to do so. We can keep them spinning way past August the 23rd and keep them spinning not only for these 40 days, but onward. That just becomes a new stair step for us, a new rung on the ladder. And anyway, while this time is so powerful, maintain the focus of the wildest dream you have for yourself, for your family, for your job, for your work, for your experience, for your life, for your local collective, for your regional collective, for your national collective, for the collective of humanity, and for the universe. Because really, what we're doing here, we're not only shifting this planet, we're shifting the solar system, all the soul levels. We're shifting our angelic levels, our monadic levels. Our monadic levels are within this galaxy. That's all the other parts of us that are fractalized into all the other different experiences within this galaxy. And we really are shifting our angelic levels and our archangelic levels. We're shifting the multiverse. We're shifting Metatron, the Metatronic levels, the whole illusion. Because we shift, we're literally, just like I've said so many times before, we're literally shifting the coordinates of our position within this galaxy because our consciousness has shifted. Consciousness is just location. It's coordinates, it's points, it's levels of consciousness, it's placement of the consciousness within certain levels. So when we go through the shifting, ourselves at the lowest end, down here in 3D Earth. Everything above shifts. It can't help but to. And that's another thing to hold for 40 days. To shift our position within this galaxy, to envision our Earth in this quadrant. Everything that revolves around our sun, which all that and other solar systems revolve around Alcyon and the Pleiades, and all that revolves around Sirius B, which is our great central sun, and then all that revolves around the center of the Milky Way galaxy. Well, everything that revolves around Sirius B and less is our quadrant, and it's our quadrant that's shifting positions within this galaxy. And so by our thoughts and our consciousness and our emotions, putting energy into motion, we can create new coordinates, and we can create new coordinates just by the thought and the vision, where we can put this quadrant into the center of this Milky Way galaxy, into heaven, into the highest vibrations there is. We can literally move ourselves, our location, our coordinates from here to there. We're already doing it. This is what this whole end time since, which began with harmonic convergence 30 years ago today and yesterday, it's all about. It's exactly what it's all about. And there's a process in how we do this. It's just like building a house. You got to build the foundations before you can build the substructure, the flooring, and before you can build the walls and the roof, and then be able to finish it out. And that's what you might consider what we're doing, is we're building a new temple, a new heaven on earth, a new way of being. That's exactly what it is. We're going to have another gate, major gate, 1,000 years from now. And that major gate, what we do then all depends on what we do right now. That's why many of us had to come back from the future again, because in the 1990s we went through our ascension process going, man, this world's messed up. Nobody's listening to us. And we got to our future, and we couldn't go to our next levels because we did not bring all the fractals into the singularity, into the one. We left people behind and said, oh, they can figure it out themselves, and they didn't figure it out. See, you've got to understand, man, there's many twin flames on this planet that are twin flames because those of us that were the elders when we fractalized out, then you had we were the bigger one, and we split into that twin flame, and one of them became us, the other one became an opposite of us, and they are in physical form, never having had the experiences of ascension in other levels. So they have come through the process of consciousness development on this planet, not remembering other experiences from the Pleiades or from Sirius or from Arcturus or Andromeda, or those that they haven't remembered, which they can, and they can do it through us. We just had to fractalize out so that there's two different polarities, a male and a female, for the experiences, because we are not asexual. Not this separation game. And the other parts of us here, which is about half this planet, is what we've got to come back here for, because they don't remember ascension. They have no ability to even relate to that. And that's part of the reason why we're doing it here in front of everyone this go round. We've got to teach them. There's so many of these earth souls. That's really what they are. They're the true earth beings, because their experience is directly related to their evolution here on this planet, which they might have been through Mu and Lemuria and in Atlantis, and they might have been part of the experiences that literally blew this planet apart before, in times like right now. Those times, those of us that were the Earth Melchizedeks, that are the Earth Ascended Melchizedeks, we left planet at that time, and they reincarnated, and they don't know anything else but reincarnation. They don't know any other experience than their Earth lives. That's it. They can't relate to what we're talking about. So we had to come back to help bring them through the process. These are our twin flames. We do have twin flame, which is our higher self merging, that is within this physical body, earth transportation mechanism right here. And we also have other opposites of ourselves. Many have other opposites of ourselves walking around here on Earth right now. Some have them that are helping to direct and aid their life experience here on this planet. But many of us have twin flames that are walking, talking, embodied here on this planet right now, that don't even comprehend what we're talking about. And they have gone through their expansions and experiences of religions and spirituality and in yoga practices, because yoga is literally the beginning of what takes you into your enlightenment process, into the higher levels of spirituality, into your Christing, into your enlightenment. And many of those souls are touching on those levels of spirituality right now, but they can't, they have not got the understanding about crossing over. And that is exactly why so many of us had to return from the future after having already gone through our ascension process. Many of us more than once on this planet. For me, 3 times. and we had to come back because we kept on feeling that these people will finally get it. And how can they if they don't have the experiences to relate to? They cannot remember ascending from other civilizations, other planets that many of us do remember ascending from, and that helped us relate to the ascension process here on Earth. But there's many people who can't relate to that at all. And that's why we're having to go through this process here and now. So, for 40 days, to envision half the planet, or to envision everybody on this planet going through their enlightenment, Christing, ascension process. That's one huge one. Because truly, that's the ultimate goal here. That is by far the greatest thing that we are doing here on this planet this go round, that we didn't do before. We tried, but nobody listened. And so now I'm seeing so many people. They are in 4D, no doubt about it. They know they have some power. They don't understand why. They're still separate from Source. 5D is embodying Source. 6D is mastering Source. There's so many people. I mean, this planet is in 4D, no doubt about it. But we've got to take it into 5D. And 5D is the understanding of the energies, the connection, remembering, reconnecting with Source, remembering, putting back together that connection, plugging in. Plugging into the matrix so you can control it, program it. That's more of consciousness, conscious programming of the matrix is what 5D is all about, in 6D too. And that's the next steps right there. We have got to bring everybody into the awareness that they have these powers, because they do. Whether they have not ascended before, they've still got the powers. Everybody is equal in that. They still have the ability to go through the ascension process, to connect to the higher levels of self, and to totally embody it, to gain all the consciousness from all those, to attune to those consciousness levels, to harmonize, attune themselves with it. Harmonize. Same thing harmonic convergence was about 30 years ago today. And I just found out yesterday that Elvis died 10 years before harmonic convergence, August 16th of 1977. And that's kind of funny, because I wanted to go see him so bad. I was 15 years old, wanted to get tickets. That would have been, you know, one of my earliest concerts, which, but that would have been pretty cool. Anyway, I just found out yesterday that was 10 years before harmonic convergence exactly, which is pretty wild. There's the train, the sound of affirmation. We have got to pull this 40-day event off. We've got to do it with the rainbow flags a-flying. Because that's what the rainbow and Rainbow Tribe is all about. It's those of us that have activated our chakra system, all the different colors of the rainbow. And each one of those rays has different influences on how this material world, how this experience manifests. And we need to be operating from every one of those rays. And we've got to be connected with that red ray, our root chakra, to Mother Earth, grounded just to make this happen. You gotta be grounded, otherwise the circuit does not work. It's just, I mean, it's just like the battery in the truck. Well, like the truck itself, like the computer in the truck, like all the things in the truck. If you disconnect ground from that battery source, then the electrons are not going to flow, and you can't power nothing up. And that's how circuitry works. So you have to be grounded. You also have to, well, you have to be connected at the crown chakra at least, but higher levels of consciousness goes through the soul chakra, goes through the galactic chakra, and the universal chakra, the multiversal chakra, back to prime creator. And so to be able to use all those chakras too is pretty key, and many of us can. And so make sure you're grounded, you're working through all the chakras you can possibly work through. You feel energy in motion, emotion, you feel it. Power up through your soul, solar plexus. Power up as much as you can. And let's get this thing done. Well, it's been a 7 or 8 shirt day for me today. It's been pretty hot here on the coast, and so I'm gonna leave it at that at 5:05 p.m. I just turned 55 since my last video. 5, the God's number, the center number. It's interesting how I turned 55 in my own life experience at this particular time, at this linescape that's setting up for this solar eclipse, with this 40 days going into it, and going into the holy days, finishing up with the holy days. And I cannot stop laughing about the debt ceiling has to be raised at the very last day of all of this. I mean, this is bringing the whole system. Oh my goodness. Big heavy pine cone fell to the ground right in front of me right as I said that. Yep, it's gonna go kaplunk. Debt ceiling's got to be raised or it goes kaplunk. 39:33. Oh man, what a hoot, what a hoot. How magical this life and this experience is. I came in knowing I was going to have an adventure and wanting the greatest of adventures. Boy, have I had it. And it's all about magic and understanding how to use magic. Understanding how to put your emotions, energy into motions, electrons into motions to generate the manifestation you wish to have. That's what it's all about. Anyway, 40, that's a good number. Love you all. 40 days, 40 minutes. Oh, and that's good enough for this video. So calling all light masters, we need your attention for 40 days. Join in the focus. There's those of us that we're just permanently in this state. This is just our life. This is who we are and what we're doing here. But for all the newbies, come on, join in. Anyway, love y'all. 40, 44, right as I look at it. It's amazing how numerology works. Love y'all. Bye for now.